So, we all know that rising income inequality is hurting working families today. But did you know that it's also putting the next generation of Americans at risk and holding back our economy? That's because all too often, children from Black and Hispanic families lack the valuable resources at home to prepare them for college and to get a good job. Children of color are now the majority of K through 12 students in the US and will play a major role in our future workforce. In order to fix this inequality, we must address the huge academic achievement gaps that exist between children of color and their white peers. Closing them will be a boon for our economy and all Americans. It will be difficult, but we can do it. How? Consider two children. Adam's parents can afford to send him to preschool. His father can take off work when he's sick. Adam also gets to participate in extracurricular activities. His parents can pay for a tutor for homework. And when Adam enters high school, he's prepared for challenging courses. By the time he's college age, Adam is prepared for success. Then there's Maria. Maria didn't go to preschool, and she has to juggle doing her homework and taking care of her siblings while her parents work two jobs. She enters high school already behind her peers, and she'll graduate far behind them. She'll be less prepared for college and a good job. So how can we ensure that all kids are able to reach their full academic potential? We need a host of family-friendly policies. These policies will help close the academic achievement gap between children of color and their peers by providing all students with the resources they need to get a higher paying job. This leads to a stronger economy. In fact, if we invest in our students today, our GDP could be $2.3 trillion larger by 2050. Tax revenues would increase an average of $198 billion each year. Investing in our children is a critical step to securing everyone's economic future. We need to act now. Learn more about how we can better prepare tomorrow's workforce at www.
So just recapping that video, how do we close the achievement gap? You see that the issue moves beyond the educational system and becomes a governmental concept as well. This is something that the country as a whole has to take into consideration, and it's the fact that opportunities and those resources that are given to middle to upper class, typically white or Asian American groups, there needs to be a conscious effort to also give those and provide those for the Black and the brown and the LGBTQ and the foster and the low income. There needs to be a shift in focus as far as where those opportunities and resources are given, because those socially systemic issues are becoming educationally what's the word I'm looking for? Educationally poor issues, and it's really deeply affecting the Black and brown communities in the educational system. Now, moving to connections and conclusions.
Connections and conclusions. We all want change, but our habits are the same as they were in 1980. Very little in the way of individualizing our attention to the groups. In order for progress to be made, curricula needs to be student-centric and sensitive to the needs of each group.
And really, this just follows the whole talk and no walk mentality that our society has, and it's the fact that we all notice, evident from 1970 and the statistics that we have, that the achievement gap is remaining where it is, and we're not putting a dent in it. However, ideologies alone are not going to solve the problem. There has to be action, and it comes from above the educational system. We do very little to actually target specific groups, and instead we group all of them together. Anybody who is underperforming is considered low performing and in a group in and of itself. And it's the fact that we don't actually give and provide the necessary attention and sensitivity to each group is why we are perpetuating this problem generation to generation. An educator's perspective, for me personally, this is just speaking with an educator that I work with. She was my master teacher, actually. She spoke on the fact that underrepresented populations are on the rise, and it's generally falling in these uh, suburban areas that seem like they are middle to high class populations, but there are a number of students who don't fit that mold. So if the curriculum doesn't reflect those students, they fall through the cracks. And typically, those students are the black and brown and LGBTQ and the foster and the low income. And instead of individualizing our attention towards them, we are now pushing to teach to the test, which again does not treat them with the sensitivity that they need to be successful. We are pushing them into that box. We are trying to categorize and just force them basically to be successful in bubbling in an answer rather than reaching their full potential. And it's because of that that they're not given a legitimate chance. And on the whole, we are perpetuating the system flaws within education. Uh, this is systemic. It's not something that happens at certain schools. It is an issue with the whole educational system. Uh, it is really the ignorance of those groups on part of the educators, on part of the boards, on part of the districts, and etc. And there needs to be attention in the way of looking at those marginalized groups and seeing what best supports them individually, not as a group. Um, this concludes our presentation. So we hope that we did a great job or a fair job of defining what the achievement gap is and how we are affected by it.
Thank you guys for giving us the opportunity to give you our perspective.
And have a merry, merry day.